My name is Jeremy Haskell with JobsInTheUS.com, and we're here at the Omni Mount Washington Resort in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire for the 3rd Annual Strategic HR New England Convention. I'm joined now by Margaret Heffernan, who is a keynote speaker and author of A Bigger Prize, who is one of the keynotes, the top of your topic here. So tell us a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about this today.
Well, A Bigger Prize is really about the perils, if you like, of internal competitive cultures and how we move from that, which I think is pretty much the norm still these days, to a more collaborative culture. And I would say that really every company that I'm working with, every company that I've written about, is really struggling with this notion of how do we get people out of their silos, how do we get information flowing, how do we get ideas flowing. If we can't get ideas flowing, we won't get any innovation. How do we take all of these high caliber individuals and get them to play well together?
Yes, I can certainly understand that. What do you think is one of the bigger challenges that's stopping us from bringing that kind of collaboration together? Because there's so much, the ability to share information is so prevalent now. But you're right, there's that internal kind of competitiveness that we're changing from a me society kind of to a we society.
Right.
So what do you think is one of the bigger challenges, or how can we overcome that?
So one of the big challenges is that most of the people we're hiring, the ones that are coming straight out of college, have been competing pretty much since the day when they were born, if not before, when their parents competed to get them into the top nursery school. So they've competed for grades, for classes, for gifted and talented places, for universities, for grades, for scholarships. They have become competitive machines, and they come into our companies desperate to be successful, and their only model of success is exactly as you say, it's all about me, me, me. And we're sitting there saying, we want you all to collaborate, and they really have no idea what we're talking about. And there's some interesting research that shows that if you give a whole bunch of job candidates a bunch of ads, anyone that mentions teamwork, they will decide not to apply for. This is not a generation that wants to be part of a great team. This is a generation that's been brought up to think of itself as superstars. And superstars play alone in the spotlight, right? So we have a lot of, if you like, reworking to do. And it's not that these are bad people at all, but they have only a very simplistic, I think, and single-minded idea of success. So we have to kind of re-engineer that and think about what do we do in terms of the way that we evaluate people and the way we reward people to get them to think about how they serve the bigger purpose.
Absolutely, it's very pertinent and very fascinating. And obviously, you're joining us from London. Do you see a difference between the European organizations and the youth coming in and versus American companies? Do you see
I wish I could say there was a difference. I talk about this subject all over the world, and everywhere I go, people say, this is a uniquely Dutch, German, Singaporean, Japanese problem. Everybody is struggling with this. I can't think of any particular national culture that has it so sus that we can look to them and say, aha, that's how we do it. Everybody is struggling with this.
Everyone has the same thing. Great. So what do you think is the way that we can overcome this? How do we, apart from just kind of having some sit down, honest, face-to-face with people, is that really kind of what it comes down to? It's
certainly that. There are a lot of exercises and kind of ways of working that I'll talk about. There's a lot about how we evaluate and reward people. But I think, anytime you're looking for change, you have to look for two things. What's the bad stuff I have to stop doing? And what's the good stuff I need to start doing? And I think everybody's really keen on the good stuff. They're pretty wedded to some of the old bad stuff. They've been doing it for years. They thought it was all okay. Why did they have to give up some of these tools and measurements that before gave them a real sense of security? But I really think if we're going to make progress, we have to give up the bad stuff as well as embrace the good stuff.
Well, if that's not a takeaway, then I don't know what is. Give up the bad stuff and start doing the good stuff. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm looking forward to the conference.
All right, thank you.